All right, let's get right into it. Today's explainer is going way past all that chatbot hype currently flooding your feed. We are unpacking the real-world future of artificial intelligence. We're going to uncover the high-stakes global race to regulate AI, the massive push to build local infrastructure, and exactly what we need to do to protect the global workforce. We are standing at a literal crossroads right now, and the decisions we make today, they're going to shape the whole shebang for years to come.
So, here is our roadmap for today. We're covering agentic AI, the widening AI divide, the socioeconomic impacts, sovereign AI and regulation, and finally, choosing AI for good.
Starting with Section 1, Beyond Chatbots, Agentic AI. We're rapidly moving past the era where AI just talks to us, which brings us to a really critical question. Are we actually ready for AI that acts entirely on its own? I mean, think about how this changes everything when these systems no longer need us holding their hand for every single step.
We're in the middle of a monumental shift. We are moving away from passive text generators, where you prompt it just to write an email, and moving toward proactive digital workers. We're talking about agentic AI. These are systems that independently research, make purchases, spot problems, and actually execute solutions. Think autonomous drones flying through disaster zones, or AI actively diagnosing patient data. It's a complete reshaping of how work actually gets done.
And to put the speed of this into perspective, just check out this Gartner prediction from an ITIU report. In 2024, enterprise apps using agentic AI sat at less than 1%. But by 2028, that number is projected to rocket to 33%. That is absolutely explosive growth in just 4 short years, meaning a huge chunk of routine enterprise decisions could soon be handled entirely by software.
Let's move to Section 2, the widening AI divide.
Because here's the reality check. This rapid advancement is not happening equally. The crucial bottleneck is physical infrastructure. AI doesn't just magically float in the cloud. It needs massive, incredibly expensive data centers. Right now, the global north hosts over 50% of the world's most powerful data centers. Meanwhile, over 150 countries in the global south have zero, none. This threatens to create a massive digital divide, leaving developing nations totally dependent on a few tech hubs.
And this hardware gap? It trickles right down into the data itself. The numbers are frankly staggering. Only 37% of the sub-Saharan African population is even online. And get this, out of the top 34 languages used on the internet, 0 are African. Because AI learns from available internet data, these models are naturally skewed by Western-centric biases. They often fail to represent diverse populations simply because the data, and the insane compute power needed to process it, just isn't distributed evenly.
But local innovators are actively fighting back. Take Ghana's Base Group, for example. They saw that Western facial recognition tools consistently failed or showed bias against Black African faces. So, what did they do? They built their own solution, specifically designed for their population. It is a brilliant example of how local innovation is absolutely essential for creating inclusive models.
Which brings us to Section 3, Socioeconomic Impacts and Jobs.
So how does this divide impact everyday workers? Well, generative AI is basically the ultimate double-edged sword. At work, it can massively boost productivity, or it can completely skew the benefits and leave lower-skilled workers behind. In education, it offers amazing personalized learning, but if access isn't equal, it just widens the gap. And in healthcare, it could democratize diagnostics, or just hoard the best tech for the wealthy, deepening the inequalities we already have. To see this in action, look at this data from the ILO on the Arab region. An estimated 70% of workforce skills are currently mismatched with what a highly automated labor market is actually going to need. 70%. If education and training aren't aggressively updated, that massive gray slice translates directly into severe job displacement.
And that leads us to 3 distinct future projections for 2035 outlined by the ILO. Path 1, rapid adoption paired with heavy skills investment, which yields inclusive growth. Path 2 is the nightmare scenario, an unprepared workforce facing massive job displacement. And Path 3 is measured integration, allowing policies time to actually work. The main takeaway here, our socioeconomic future is not predetermined by the tech. It is entirely dependent on our policy choices.
On to Section 4, Sovereign AI and Regulation. To manage these intense workforce and data risks, nations are leaning into this fascinating concept called sovereign AI.
This is where countries proactively build their own AI ecosystems, their own data centers, their own language models. They're doing this to reduce foreign dependence, secure their citizens' data, and make sure the AI actually reflects local values and languages. It's all about protecting their strategic autonomy.
We are literally watching a modern-day space race unfold. India is dropping $1.25 billion on the India AI mission for multilingual models in agriculture and public services. The UAE launched the open-source Falcon LLM and forged a massive AI partnership with the US. And Switzerland? They're building Apertus to guarantee publicly governed multilingual AI access. Everyone is sprinting to ensure this tech serves their own public interests.
But how do you regulate all this? Well, different global powers are taking wildly different approaches. The European Union is going strict and risk-based, straight up banning harmful AI practices. Japan is leaning into a soft law approach, using voluntary guidelines to keep innovation flowing. Meanwhile, China is hyper-focused on security, making things like a labeling of all AI-generated content mandatory. There is absolutely no single global rulebook right now.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Choosing AI for Good.
To bridge all these fragmented local rules, global cooperation frameworks are stepping up. The UN Global Digital Compact is a major push to create a universal framework. The goal here is to ensure AI doesn't just enrich a few corporations or secure dominance for a handful of nations, but actually promotes human rights, inclusion, and planetary sustainability. It's about getting everyone on the same page.
I think this quote from ILO Regional Director Ruba Gerada absolutely hits the nail on the head. She says, AI is not a distant prospect. The overall impact, however, is not predetermined. It will depend greatly on the policy choices we make today. It's reshaping our world right now, but the final outcome, that's still up in the air.
So as we stand at this massive crossroads, what's it going to be? Are we just going to passively watch this incredibly powerful tech widen the digital divide and displace workers? Or are we going to demand the infrastructure and the policies that actually build an inclusive, human-centric future? Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Keep asking those big questions, and I'll catch you next time.